guys, it's Naseem here. Now, after using the iPhone 14 Pro Max for about a week now, the one thing that kept coming to my mind whenever I was using it on a day-to-day basis was this simple statement that I think explains the 14 Pro Max pretty perfectly. And that statement is, I think that the iPhone 14 Pro Max has the best start out of any phone in 2022. And when I say best start, ever since I started using the 14 Pro Max, this is one phone that's damn near perfect out the gate. And I can honestly say that it's the most well-rounded phone in the market. It has an amazing display that offers a bigger yet premium experience. It has an amazing battery life that will easily last you all day. It has a really powerful chip that will not only handle many things well, but will also let you play high quality games. And it has an updated camera that shoots many helpful features if you're someone like me who shoots videos from their iPhone. And this is why I say that the 14 Pro Max gave me the best first impression, because unlike other phones, it rarely had any imperfections when I first got it. Now, the first thing that I wanted to take a look at is the display. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro Max has a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR display that I must say felt exactly the same as the iPhone 13 Pro Max. My favorite thing that I loved about the screen was that it had a 120Hz refresh rate, so that added to the overall smoothness whenever I scroll through the OS. Now, when it comes to size, it's all preference, but I would definitely say that the 14 Pro Max isn't for everybody. It can get really hard to reach the top of the screen, and it starts hurting my pinky after a while of holding it. So when it comes to the 14 Pro Max, you have to be someone who prefers screen size over comfort. I also really like the responsiveness of the 14 Pro Max. Like whenever I would scroll through the OS, play games, and even customize my home screen, I never got any lag, and the screen kept up that great consistency. The display was much brighter than last year. Apple has finally decided to bump up the display to over 2000 nits, so if you're outside and turn the brightness up, you'll see everything very clearly. And now the last aspect of the display that I really liked was just how great it looked whenever I was watching movies, playing games, and scrolling through the OS. Like right here, you can see me watching the video, and you can see just how colorful and vibrant the display is. I really enjoy how quality the resolution was. And to give you guys an example of how good the screen is, I'm gonna watch a video and play a game.
At their own 47. Good protection again, launch downfield. Watkins wide open, touchdown.
Now, after the display, let's take a look at the software. Now, the software on the 14 Pro Max was as smooth as ever. I rarely got any lags, but whenever the phone would heat up, that's where I experienced the slowness of the device. But when it wasn't hot, the 14 Pro Max still maintained that consistency, and that's why I really enjoyed it. I also really loved how it was able to handle power heavy apps. Like whenever I'm playing Smashy Road, the game ran really well and was still able to stay really smooth and get the job done. iOS 16 was definitely the most enjoyable part of the 14 Pro Max's experience for me. Every other day, I found myself changing my wallpapers because of how easy it was. Now, one of my favorite things that I like was the lock screen. Like right here, you can see whenever I put a new wallpaper, I can edit it and add more widgets to give the lock screen more depth. I also really enjoy how Apple integrated the pill notch within the software. I would usually use it whenever I was playing music, and I really liked how whenever I played music, it would show the art cover along with the frequencies, and I could long press and change the song. Also, whenever I was on the phone, it would let me know how long I was on the call, and if I was doing something else, I could long press it and be able to manage the call from there. I also really loved how it could multitask. Like whenever I switch between different apps, it can maintain both tabs and switch easier. Now, one thing that I didn't like about the pill notch is whenever I'm screen recording something, someone who doesn't have the 14 Pro or the Pro Max will see the pill on the display, which was really annoying for people who don't have the newer phones. But besides that, there were many little animations that I liked with the pill notch, and even though it's not the most useful thing on the 14 Pro Max, it adds little things that will help you in many situations. And again, I have to give Apple a pat on the back because of how well connected I am to stay with my other devices. Like for those who don't know, I shoot my videos on my iPhone, so whenever I'm done shooting, all I have to do is airdrop the videos to my MacBook, and it makes the process so much easier. And again, the software handled really well, and even after a week of use, the 14 Pro Max was able to keep up that consistency not only within the display, but also within the software. Now, the next thing that I wanted to look at is the battery life. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro Max has a 4300 mAh battery that I will say held up really well when compared to other smartphones in the market. I would have about 8 to 10 hours of on-screen time, which was pretty heavy usage since I also shoot videos. And on days where I would shoot videos, I would end my day with about 20% battery left, which was really good since recording takes up most of my day. And on days where I would use my 14 Pro Max like a regular phone, I would end my day with about 35% battery left, which was a still good enough difference for me. The charging was something that I really did have a problem with. It was a little worse than the 14 Pro. Like whenever I would charge it up during the day, it would take forever to get to 100%, and it made everything harder. Now, another thing that I would say sucked was the wireless charging speeds. Like when compared to my other phones, the iPhone 14 Pro Max would take longer for me to connect it because it had a really big camera bump, and there were many times where I had to position it at a weird angle just for it to fit, and the speeds were much slower. Now, when comparing the 14 Pro Max to the 14 Pro, I would say that the speakers are better in terms of volume. The bass was a little weak, but again, that's usually the case with most smartphones. But besides the bass not being that great, I would say that the overall sound quality was really good. Music sounded nice, videos were loud and clear, and the speakers overall enhanced my viewing experience because they were just that good. And to give you guys an idea of how the speakers sound, I'm going to play a video so that you can see just how loud they are. And now the final thing that I wanted to look at when it comes to the iPhone 14 Pro Max is the cameras. Now, if I'm being honest, the camera on the iPhone 14 Pro Max was pretty much the same as the 13 Pro Max, but that's not a bad thing at all. The pictures came out colorful, vibrant, very sharp, and didn't give me any shutter lag, which made the camera even more practical when compared to other phones in the market. And when we look at the daytime outside photos, I would say that these were really the best in the game. I liked how my skin looked when taking selfies. I liked how the colors were very accurate, and I really liked how the skies looked when taking long range photos. And again, when looking at all of these photos back to back, I again like how consistent they were. Like every photo looks like it came from an actual camera, which gives off a very natural picture. And when we look at the daytime inside photos, I would say that these were just as consistent as the outside pictures. Even when the lighting wasn't good, I was still able to get good photos, which really says a lot about the cameras. My skin looked really nice, but it still had a little bit of graininess. Different objects still maintain that signature sharpness, and the overall pictures came off very natural while adjusting to the environment. And when it came to video quality, the 14 Pro Max had one of the best to offer. And to give you guys an example, here's some videos that I took on it. And there it is, my review on the iPhone 14 Pro Max after 1 week of use. Now let me know down in the comments, would you get the iPhone 14 Pro Max over the iPhone 13 Pro Max? Let me know. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I'd like to say thank you for sticking around. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe, it'll be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.